Hello everyone, this is Joe from Sound Devices, and today we're going to talk all about cue points on your MixPre. This is useful for navigating recordings, marking points of interest, and punching in and out during a music session. So to place a cue point, once you're recording, you're just going to touch the cue button at the top. I'll get a few points put in. Now to check those, tap your take name, and we're going to enter the take and go to the second page. And we see we have the cue list icon. We're going to click that, and we can see the 3 cue points that we just put down. So when we enter one, we have a few options. We can move it forward or backward. So we'll just scoop that 1/10 of a second. We have the ability to name a cue point. This is helpful for like continuous takes, or if you hear like an errant noise. Let's just say we heard a bird on this cue take, so we can just say bird. And then that name's going to stick. We also have the ability to delete a cue point, so I want to show you using a different one. If we delete a cue point, when the numbers increment, it'll scoot everything forward or backward to kind of take up that space. So let's delete number 2, and we can see this the 6-second mark. For number 3, it's going to move back. So let's enter number 2, let's delete, and we can see now that take 3 has scooted back and become, or excuse me, cue 3 has scooted back and become cue point number 2. While we're recording, we also have the ability to enter cue points using the control surfaces. I have the Korg Nano Control 2 here. If I just hit the marker set button, we can see that it's adding cue points. The other surfaces can do it by using a dedicated button or a button shortcut that you can map. So if you want to see that, we do have a video on each of the control surfaces for the MixPre series, so make sure you check those out. So we have a few shortcuts for adding cue points. On the MixPre 6 and the MixPre 10, what we can do is enter the star toggle menu and assign it to the star toggle or the star button on the MixPre 6. So we'll enter the shortcut, and let's turn the left toggle to cue. You can also do it with a USB keyboard by pressing Control M. So let's start rolling here. See, we obviously have our normal control on the front panel. We have the left star toggle, and then if we hit Control M, we can see that we're adding a few cue points. While you're playing back on the MixPre 10, if we hit play, and then if we use the joystick, we can scroll between our cue points, which is really cool. You can also do this using a USB keyboard, using the arrow keys, and on a few of the USB MIDI controllers, they have scene navigators as well, so you can do it there. Cue points function a little differently in a music project or on the MixPre M models. So you can play from a certain location and then punch in or out, so you can take multiple passes over a section. So when we're in a music project, our cue points can be set up as 4 markers, which are play in, record out, or stop. To show you what that looks like, I'm going to record for about 5 seconds and then set a cue point every 5 seconds after that. To enter the cue list, you just touch the project name. I've called this one cue. And then we see we have the cue list menu right here. We're going to touch that. And then we see we have these 4 options: play in, record out, and stop. And then we have all the cue lists that exist in our project so far. So let's enter our first one. We can name it, we can move, and we can delete it, just like in an audio project. And we have the ability to set as. So let's set this cue point as play in. And we go back. Let's set our second one as record in. So let's say it'll play for about 5 seconds, and then it'll punch me into record. I'm going to back out. We'll set our next one here. We're going to set this one as record out. So after we've recorded about 5 seconds, it's going to punch us out here. And then let's just set our last one as stop. So now we'll hit stop just to kind of zero everything out. I'm going to press record, and we're going to see that on the second cue point, it's going to punch me in. The third point, it's going to punch me out, and then it'll keep playing. So we can see right now my audio isn't affecting anything. We would just be listening to the track. Right now, it's punched me in, so I could overdub this little part of this take. And then now it has punched me out. It's going to play through, and then on cue point 4, it's going to stop our audio. And there we go. While you're in stop mode on the main screen, if you touch the cue icon, it's going to open this menu here. We can see our play in, record out, and stop cue points are all marked here. We do also have access to the cue list here. If you're in stop mode and you're not on one of these points, you do have the ability just to drop a new cue point wherever. So let's just play the song out from the beginning. And let's say I want to add a cue point between 2 and 3, about 12 seconds. So I just added it there. I can also do this while I'm in stop mode. I just stopped around here. So let's add one more cue point. By touching the cue menu and pressing that cue button, I've just dropped a new cue point in. So if we go to the list, we can see we have 6 cue points now because of the ones that I've just added. From the menu here, we have the ability to clear in and out, so it'll get rid of all of these punch spots. So I can just hit clear in and out once you've nailed that take, and then if you need to re-punch in anywhere else, you can set your new cue points as your new punch in and punch out spots.